Headed to Scotland, don't make the same mistakes that we did, from paying triple for meals and driving on the wrong side of the road. We learned all of these lessons the hard way. So here are 20 costly mistakes tourists make in Scotland and how you can avoid every single one. Hey, I'm Sydney. We are a full-time traveling family who's been living in Romania for the past 6 months. We are currently in Scotland with many more places to go. We help teach other families that traveling is possible. You don't need to be rich to do it, and you can do it on a budget, so that you can get out there and travel too. So let's go. All right, mistake number one, and probably the most common, is thinking that you can see all of Scotland in one trip. Scotland does look small on a map, but the drives are slow. And then you add in the winding roads, the one-lane bridges, and sheep that apparently have the right of way. Well, that's when you really start to realize that it's gonna take longer than you thought. We thought that we could cover the Highlands, the Isle of Skye, and Edinburgh in like just one single week, and that was a big mistake. So my suggestion, and what we have done now, is instead pick one region and really experience it. You're gonna save money on fuel, hotels, and trust me, your sanity. So once you've got your route figured out, your next mistake is pretty much hiding in plain sight. And it hits your wallet before you even notice it. Tip here is to, again, choose your region. Maybe it's the Highlands, maybe it's Edinburgh, maybe it's Stirling or the Islands, and go deep into it instead of wide and expanding all in a short period of time. So, like our first section is based on money and planning mistakes. Underestimating your travel cost. Scotland does add up fast. You have parking, attractions, fuel. So plan a daily buffer so that you don't end up rotating lattes halfway through your trip. And you need to remember, if you're coming from the US, our dollars to pounds, it hits hard, okay? Our dollar is not nearly the same as what a pound is. So you do end up paying a little bit more. So your $5 might end up being 7 pounds. 50 pounds might end up being $60 when it's all said and done. Another one is to not book early enough. Your summer rooms specifically are going to vanish months ahead of time. We are here in October, and it was still really difficult to find somewhere to stay and other rooms about, because October is still their almost peak season in a way. So we really learned this after paying triple at Inverness, because everything under 200 pounds was already gone and spoken for. So another one is to plan your travel insurance, okay? Between flights and ferries and even hikes can sometimes, that like you've booked through groups, can get canceled for weather, and the weather is somewhat unpredictable. Well, it's predictable in the way that it's unpredictably going to rain at some point during your day, I guess. It's not really like an if it's gonna rain, it's more of when the weather's gonna get bad. So sometimes it is definitely worth to spend that 40 pounds to protect your sanity and not be out of pocket, okay? So we learned that one the hard way. Another one is overpacking. You got to remember there's cobblestones, rain, and if you have a suitcase for everyone, or maybe 2 suitcases for everyone, it's a recipe for regret. Pack layers and do laundry halfway through. Not to lug an entire wardrobe up a bread and breakfast stairs that does not have an elevator, okay? And trusting Google Maps. So 2 hours on the map can sometimes mean a lot longer in real life. You got a plan for the sheep crossing. Maybe it's your one-lane bridges. It's the photo stops everywhere, because every turn is a beautiful picture place here in Scotland. We quickly learned that your rental car navigation system is not reliable. And we did this 2 separate times before we really, I guess, learned our lesson, okay? It does not tell you when there is lane and road closures. There was multiple road closures in the countryside, and we did not know until we got there. Now, Google Maps told us, but we used the car navigation at the beginning. So it did add on quite a bit of extra driving time. So learn your lesson and either use Apple Maps. You can use Waze a little bit, or Google Maps, and make sure that what you're using is right. So maybe double check it, cross-reference it with another GPS system. So before you and your family start packing for Scotland, make sure to get your free family packing list for all seasons and for all ages. This is our family's personal packing checklist that we use for every single trip. It is in the video description, and I will also stick it down below in the comments. So our next section is really about weather and packing mistakes, okay? This one is believing the forecast, up, the sun's out, and you think it's gonna be a great day. No, you're probably gonna get rain by lunch, okay? Always bring a waterproof jacket and a sense of humor, okay? Do not let the rain ruin your plans. You're gonna have a horrible time here, and it's just know, this is a country where it rains frequently, so embrace it. The next oopsie daisy is packing fashion over function. Scotland does not care if you're cute. It does not care if you have designer pants, a shirt, or shoes, okay? Just comfort and waterproof over everything else. We ended up buying waterproof hiking boots for our entire family during our first week here because we wanted to go out on hiking and explore a whole lot more without ruining our shoes. We went to Mountain Warehouse, and it's in like every single city. It was roughly 15 to 30 pounds per person for us to get some hiking shoes, and it was well worth this purchase. One is for getting your bug spray. Now, fortunately, we skipped out on this hard lesson. It's absolutely worth a mention, so I'm sticking it in here. The midges in summer are like little tiny vampires, okay? So your 5-pound bottle of bug repellent is probably worth the weight in gold to pack if you're going in the countryside or you're going somewhere else here in Scotland. Now we have the ignoring daylight hours. In winter, the sun can be gone by as early as 3:30 p.m. So plan your sightseeing earlier, or you might just be eating dinner in the dark. It gets dark relatively quickly once you hit that like end of fall and winter area, okay? Our next section is all about food and money, okay? So here's our mistakes here. One was eating only in your tourist spots, right? Restaurants on the Royal Mile are awesome, but they charge London prices, in Glasgow as well. So step a few streets over for like local pubs and restaurants that are a little bit more family friendly, and for half the bill. Another mistake was not trying your local groceries. So you have Tesco and M&S. M&S is a little bit more pricier. They have amazing ready meals, and they were all really fabulous, but they come with smaller of a selection. Think of it as like the US's Trader Joe's. Or you can go to Tesco, which is, I feel like, Kroger. It's bigger. They have some clothes there. They have some other things. And there's more selection, but the prices are a lot more affordable. And it is perfect for getting stuff for your picnics and for families that really want to stay on a budget and to have more of a local experience. The next mistake is forgetting cash. Some rural cafes and parking machines still do not take cards. We actually found this out the hard way on like our first day here in Perth, okay? We went to the local M&S and they would not take cards. We had to pay with cash, and we had to ask someone in the parking lot if they would exchange money with us so that we could pay to park to go into the grocery store. So maybe keep 20-pound notes handy, and you need some coins too. Don't just have your paper bills, your notes. Get some coins too, because you're gonna need like a 1 pound pence and 1 pound coin if you need to go in. Also, we ended up with an old paper note that nobody would accept, and we ended up having to go to the local post office to exchange it for like the new polymer notes that they use here. So just keep in mind that they have phased out the old paper notes, and you need to have your new polymer ones. But if you get stuck with one from, we got stuck with one from changing our money from Wells Fargo in the US, it's super easy. You just walk into the post office and they exchange it for you right then and there, no problems. So, and the next one is skipping free attractions. Scotland is full of free museums, hikes, and castles. So don't assume automatically that the fun here means expensive, because that's absolutely not the case. Driving and our transportation mistakes. Driving tired after landing. Worst mistake ever. You're gonna add jet lag, cranky kids, and left side driving in the dark. That is a nightmare combo, okay? Spend your first night near the airport. So maybe that's Glasgow or Inverness, or maybe it's, actually, I don't even know if Inverness has an airport, but I know Aberdeen or Inverness does. I know one of them does. Or Edinburgh. Okay, we drove from Edinburgh to Perth, and it was like a 45-minute drive, and it was rough at night. And driving the other side of the road, it was a learning experience, okay? And also, make sure that your suitcases fit into your rental car. Now, our situation's a little different because we have more suitcases than most people are traveling because it's all that we own, but ours did not fit, and we had to quickly make friends, and they drove with us 45 minutes from their work to help us bring our suitcases here. So the next one is ignoring your passing places or your one signal lane road. Okay, pull over to let others by, and the locals will really thank you. Most people are extremely nice and they wave. They just kind of know that if it's like only a one way, only one car can get in, whoever has the bigger gap to pull over pulls over while the other ones come through and then they go. But everybody just waves. They're super thankful and they're very kind about it. Next, we can talk about parking anywhere you want. Wrong zone is essentially an instant fine. Always read the small print and look for the pay and display. It literally means what it says. Okay, you put the ticket in the car on your dash after you've paid for your spot. Getting to refuel before you head out from the gas station can also be a big mistake, because if you are in like the rural countryside and it's not the main city, sometimes your petrol stations can be like 40 kilometers apart in rural areas. So top up whenever you hit like half a tank, or if you know you have a long drive coming, plan to make sure that those things are taken care of in advance. And experience mistakes. Rushing through the small towns. Everyone races to the big name spots like Edinburgh or Skye, but the magic is in some of these tiny villages. So slow down and chat with the locals, and don't just skip over them or drive right through them. We did this in like many smaller towns at restaurants, locals in the grocery stores, and honestly, with everyone we met, we just talked to. Making friendly connections in Scotland has been one of the easiest and biggest blessings to our family. So again, not talking to locals is a big mistake. Scots love sharing stories, directions, and secret spots. One conversation at a cafe can essentially change your whole trip and lead you into exciting new adventures. So those are our 20 costly mistakes we learned in Scotland so that you don't have to. So tell me which one surprised you the most. Put it in the comment section and watch our other video. We have done the 7 free family adventures in Scotland so that you can plan your fun part of your trip. Until next time, happy trekking.